Well, happy Friday, you cinema geeks out there. Bobo here with BrassReel Brothers. Thanks for tuning in for a little bit more popcorn. So all these movies that were supposed to come out in theater are coming out on HBO Max now, and I decided I'm going to review them all. But I didn't really decide that until after I did my review of Little Things last week. And I also didn't do a review of Wonder Woman just because everybody and their mom did a review of that. And I'll probably do a review of that later on when I do a bunch of DC films. So from here going forward, all the HBO Max movies that come out, I'm going to be putting in its own series called
Year of the Max.
That's terrible, but that's what I'm sticking with. So the most recent release they had came out today, Judas and the Black Messiah. Well, let's get to it. Alright, so before I get started, this is a spoiler-free review, so don't have to worry about spoiling the movie. Just kind of going to give you my thoughts on it. That's what all these BrassReel Quickies are going to be, just my thoughts. So Judas and the Black Messiah, written by Will Burson and Shaka King, directed by Shaka King, starring Daniel Kaluuya, Lakeith Stanfield, Jesse Plemons, and Dominique Fishback. At least those are the main actors it focuses on. It also has some side stories and other characters it focuses on, and a small appearance by Martin Sheen playing J.Edgar Hoover. Alright, so right off, I just want to say that this movie is really well done. It's good. It's not something to get excited about, to be entertained and to be like, ooh, it's a popcorn movie. This is very much a history lesson just in a movie format. One of the reasons I'm saying that is because it taught me a lot of stuff about a situation that occurred that I didn't know anything about. It mainly revolves around a guy named Fred Hampton, who was a Black Panther Party chairman or leader and also was responsible for the whole Rainbow Coalition thing. Fred Hampton is played by Daniel Kaluuya, does a great job. He does a great job in everything he's in. But honestly, the real main character of the movie is the guy played by Lakeith Stanfield, Bill O'Neill, or as they call him in this, Wild Bill. And this is a true story about Bill O'Neill, who actually did an open interview finally in 1989. And Bill O'Neill was a guy who was basically an FBI informant into the Black Panther Party. And it just follows the struggle with him, what he was doing, the idea of him slightly getting attached to the Black Panther Party while trying to take it down. But it's a very truthful film. It's not one-sided in any way as far as race is concerned. It paints out the Black Panther Party being just as bad as the KKK as far as what they stood for in the violence area and things like that. Ultimately, they just wanted to bring each other down. It doesn't take any side with either of those parties, really. It kind of shows you what they were trying to do beyond that, but mainly it focuses on how corrupt the police force mentality was. And I'm not talking about just being corrupt as far as taking a bribe or doing some money under the table type corruption. I'm talking about deep-seated mental corruption as far as the way you were raised, the way you were taught to hate other people just because of their color. So it is based on racism, this movie, but it's also based on the people that have power using that racism and how terrible that can be and the hatred that stems from it, the violence, the bloodshed. And it shows you a lot of seedy underbelly type things that were going on with the government. It does not paint a good picture of J. Edgar Hoover. In fact, it shines a little bit of a light on some things that I think that kind of need to be acknowledged. Things I wasn't aware of. And it really does get creepy into some sort of Illuminati type ideas, especially the portrayal of J. Edgar Hoover by Martin Sheen. Very good portrayal. It looks just like him, and man, just some moments that are really creepy and terrifying and just shines a light on some stuff that I really think needs to be acknowledged. And it also opens up that still fresh wound of segregation and racism that we need to deal with as humanity. And in times like these where the issue is very prevalent, I thought this couldn't have been a better time for this movie to come out, not just because it shines a light on a lot of things, but because it's very educational. It's not trying to get you to be one-sided. It's trying to give you some information. But as far as quality of a film is concerned, really well done, very well shot. There's a lot of really good visual moments. All the actors are top-notch and it's really good. But don't go into this movie thinking that you're going to be like, wow, this was a great movie. You're going to have some emotions with this movie. You're going to feel certain ways. You're going to be watching certain things that aren't so comfortable, but sometimes the truth isn't all that comfortable, and I think this movie needs to be seen. Kudos to you for Shaka King for trying to tell the truth of the movie and putting out a very unbiased truth, just showing you what exists. So I say this is the type of movie that I think everybody needs to take the time to sit down and watch. You'll learn something from it, for sure. I know I did. Definitely about a lot of stuff that I didn't even know that went down. A very well written and scripted drama, very well acted, and it's completely relevant for the time. Judas and the Black Messiah, A-. Well, guys, thanks for joining me for this quickie. Oh, yeah, and another thing I wanted to touch on, the soundtrack is really good in this. Not just the songs they use from the times, but the actual score. The score just fits really well into the feeling of the film. Well, guys, thanks for tuning in for another quickie. I'm in the middle of editing my Perfect Weapon review, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Should be tomorrow or the next day. Hey, hit the like button if you enjoyed watching this video. I appreciate you clicking on it to begin with. Look for Bobby Williams on Facebook. Look for BrassReel Brothers on Facebook. And you can find me on Twitter, BrassReel Bobby at BrassReel. And if you haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button so you can help us make it to the top. And as always, if life gives you lemons, make some hot, fresh popcorns.
Deputy Chairman Fred Hampton of the Illinois Black Panther Party.